Okay.
Hello. All right.
Hi.
We're on. Today is a very important
And said,
and sad broadcast that we wanted to do as an emergency because it's happening as we speak. So,
so maybe first of all,
yeah.
this is a charged subject for many people.
Yes.
There are two sides. We're going to cover both sides. We're not on a specific side, despite the fact that I'm an Israeli.
Yeah.
People will think that I'm biased. You will see I'm not. Actually, I want to explain really what's going on with that specific conflict, as well as overall.
Yeah. Yeah.
And actually present something that someone can do something with, not just who are we going to blame today.
Right, exactly. And also what's behind all this,
Yeah,
because there's a
exactly.
ton of question marks and it's just not adding up. All right.
Exactly.
So, first of all, let's start with just a quick overview. Many people know the current events headlines. Let's start with what's going on.
So we have Israel, a very, very strong force in the Middle East. We've got the Palestinians, weak, suffering, lots of people in a small place under huge duress. Basically, from their viewpoint, it's a prison. From the Israeli viewpoint is, well, but you're attacking us. So both sides are right and everyone died. And now what's happened specific here? Israel protects itself in many, many ways. It has a border, and this border is probably one of the most secure border on earth. If a lizard cross the border, you have tanks and 7 jeeps that arrive in less than a minute. It's a border that can detect things that going under the border up to 40 kilometers. It has a huge fence, but clever fence, very advanced with the most advanced sensors. At any given time, there's balloons that watching over the area, 2 or 3 drones. There is cameras that are fixed cameras. It's impossible for someone to cross without you knowing. In this big, massive border, there are weak points where people will go through every day, mainly people that come to work in Israel. It was known that it's there, even that is protected. So what happened after all kind of preparation, a group of people from Hamas broke the fence in few places and just drove in and out of Israel freely. All of a sudden, for hours, there is no army. Not for minutes, for hours. Came in, went into the villages around and start to attack civilians, soldiers, anyone that they saw. Babies, children. They burned the houses with the people inside. There's no question about it that this is a genocide. It's inhumane. And now there is a list of justification explaining away the most obvious wrongness, why they did it. Regardless of why the Palestinian did it, it's not right. And it's not that you went into an army operation and a few people die by mistake or not by mistake. Okay? You went in with the purpose of killing civilian just because they're Israelis. So this is not okay.
Yeah.
Regardless of just the justification. So this is the picture. Now the question, of course, is how come Israel have probably the best army in the area, one of the best in the world. A lizard cannot cross the fence, and there was many situations where a Palestinian, one terrorist will cross the border. In an hour, he will be gone.
Yeah.
How come that all of a sudden, for 20, 30 hours, people are just visiting Israel and killing civilians?
Think about it. Israel is a country that to drive from the top to the bottom, it takes 6 hours, the entire country.
Yeah.
So anyone can get anywhere quickly, especially the army. I was watching a live stream of somebody at like 6 a.m. saying, wow, I'm just hearing the news, and they were streaming live. And the whole time the question is, where's the army? What's happening for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours? Why is there nobody here?
So there is a few reasons why.
Yeah.
And I want to explain few principles that will be good not only for Israel and for everyone that's listening. This is a principle that will explain why you fail in life, if you failed in life, and why you succeeded when you succeed. So the principle is like that. In life, you need 50% force and 50% protection. 50% attack, 50% defense. In every one of the wars, when someone lost, he unbalanced those things. So, for example, Europe in World War II had the Magellan Line that was built after World War One and was totally dedicated for defense. They put 80% on defense. So a few Germans on motorcycle in few weeks took Europe because they concentrate only on defense. Israel in 73 had the Bar-Lev line, and the Bar-Lev line had the idea you just need to protect the area, and if you protect well enough, they will not cross. Israel had in 2003 the same story. We have a very advanced fence that no one can go through. Any kind of passive defense, any kind of defense, if it's more than 50% of what you're doing, will be broken and will be reason for you losing.
Yes.
So that's number one. Now in your life, it's the same thing. When you building a company or you live life and you just worry, then you just defense. You worry, you just defense. You just don't want bad thing to happen to you. You'll die sooner or later. You will not succeed in life. You need to, of course, be smart about defense, but always a little bit more attack.
Yeah.
So this is the first principle. The second principle is once you are strong, you need to do one of two things. Either use your strength to bring total control, unquestionable, solve the problem, or give away control. You cannot be powerful and be questionable. And Israel is very powerful, but questionable. The stupidity in Israel was that they decided that they want to strengthen the Hamas. Israel gave hundreds of $millions every month to the Hamas. They wanted the open idea was we need to strengthen the Hamas because if that's strong, there's a kind of a government, never mind insane government or some kind of an enemy government, but we want to strengthen them.
They gave them money to strengthen them so that there's a government in the area.
Yes, so it's control because we give them money and we give them jobs and we give them, so they're controlled, but not solving the problem. They're still in an open jail. Regardless of how much money I give you, if you're in jail, you're not going to be happy.
And now explain the connection Hamas over the open air jail. Are they the government of the area?
It's a terrorist organization that controlled the area by force, and basically it's controlled Gaza, and then you've got the West Bank where Abbas and the PLO basically controlling this area. Okay, they're just calling it differently right now. So what's happened? These two principles.
Yeah.
And with this principle, if you understand them, you will know how not to die in your life, in running a country. So how come for few hours no one reacted? And the answer is interesting, and I want to teach you one more principle. And this principle is probably more important than the other two principles. What's this principle? If I ask you to please, everyone, I want you to tell me what you look here. Look at here, and if I ask you, what do you see? Just look here. I know it's not so good because of the camera, but there is something written here, a special message that I have for everyone. I want you to look at that. If you see that message, you will understand something that you never understood in your life. Can you see that?
Yes.
What I'm doing right now, I'm getting your attention on this, and you don't see anything that I'm doing with my hands. And all you see is that. So the principle is that if I want to hide something, I need to do something massive that will take all your attention to this thing. And at that moment, you'll forget everything. So if you want to hide something in plain sight, what you do, you get the attention of the person on one thing. And when he put his attention on one thing, you can do whatever you want on the other side. So what's happened here is like that. This thing has been agreed to by someone in the government. A week ago, 2 weeks ago, Netanyahu met with Biden. Mm-hmm. They've been fighting for months. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden they met. And there is a meeting in Syria and Lebanon between Iran, Hamas, and Hezbollah. And
explain who those people are: Iran, Hamas, Hezbollah.
Just different terrorist organizations.
Fine.
Yes. And then you've got the Minister of Defense of Israel meeting with the American, and all of a sudden you have this amazing attack. And in 2 seconds, the US is totally behind Netanyahu. And 100% support like never before. So what happened here is quite amazing. And this is sound unbelievable. And maybe this is the next thing that you need to know as a principle. One thing people cannot confront is evil. They will invent why it happened. But what you have is evil. What happened right now is this thing was allowed to happen. It was planned so the government will be able to put further control over the population. And you will see that what will happen is the following. Israel now will attack the Palestinian. Israel can wipe Gaza in 2 days. If Israel will do what the Palestinian goes, they can just go with F-16 and just flatten Gaza in 2 days.
Why aren't they doing that, by the way?
Because Israel wants to consider itself as humanitarian, as like we will not do that. So there's a whole story about we're trying as much as possible not to hurt innocent people. That's the intention. So Israel will not go and just kill civilians. It's not what an organized country do generally. What will happen? Israel will move in. Israel will wipe the Hamas. Gaza is already 50 years behind the whole world. Gaza is already a bad place. It will become even worse. Israel supply water, Israel supply electricity to Gaza. They will stop it. It will become a massive humanitarian disaster. There will be much more pain. And that will bring everyone from both sides to say, okay, fine, so we need to make sure that this will never happen again. And in order for that to never happen again, they will put control that has nothing to do with what happened. Much like 9/11 happened, and all of a sudden, all of the Americans agreed very happily to give all of their freedom. We can listen to you, we can check you in the airport, we can check you here. One event happened and 300 years of freedom get wiped. That's the principle. One thing, one corona happened, and all your freedom is gone. You are locked in your house. Total insanity, yes?
So what would be an example of a kind of a control that they might put on because of an event like this?
Okay, everyone that move anywhere in Israel, and this is just a trial for other countries, by the way. They're just trialing different thing in other countries.
Yeah.
Anyone that will move in Israel anywhere will be monitored. Any money that will move will be monitored. It's already highly monitored. It will be more. Every cent that you want to spend, you will need approval of the government. Everything that you do will be monitored and you will be just a puppet. Now, where is it leading to? Regardless if you think that we are alone in this universe or not, we're not alone in this universe. This universe has generally two forces, the good forces and the bad forces. The bad forces are dedicated to overtake population, enslave the spirits for their own end use. And what you see right now on planet Earth is these bad forces creating just that. It's insanity because if you take an Israeli and Palestinian and let them talk, they will come to an agreement 2.5 minutes. So someone making sure that the fight will not finish and it's getting worse. So you talk, I will say, well, you know, I'm Israeli and this is what happened, and someone will say, free Palestine. And Israeli will say, kill the Palestinians. Look what they've done. Two sides are just insane. Why is it insane? Because it doesn't bring a solution. You cannot kill all the Israelis. You cannot kill all the Palestinians, at least not with the result that the day after you'll be able to look at yourself as a human being. So if you still want to be a human being, you will see that's not the solution. You see that every Israeli right now will tell you that the Palestinians are not people, they are animals. And the Palestinian will tell you the Israelis are not people, they are animals. Why? Because people don't kill each other. In order for a person to kill someone else, you have to be convinced that the other side is an animal. And the governments of both sides convince you that the other side is an animal, so it's okay to continue with their control mechanism. If you will go and you will understand the family of a Palestinian, you will not kill that Palestinian. If you will understand that he has children exactly like yours, that he loves exactly like you will not. If those Palestinians that came to Israel and killed all those people really were in present time and realized that they're killing people, children, old people, teenagers that did nothing to them, if they would understand that it's people and not animals, they will not do that. Prerequisite for someone killing someone else, he has to be convinced that the other side is animal. And if you listen to the news and if you listen to arguments between people, at one point you say you are an animal, which means I have a right to kill you. This is another principle that you have to understand. If someone kill you, he has to be convinced that you are not human. Otherwise, he will not kill you. If you have someone putting gun to your head, and you will tell him, look, I'm human just like you. I love just like you. I have children, I have brothers, I have sisters, I have parents that love me, and I love them just like you. That person will not kill you. If he will actually hear you, he will not kill you. Bring about the reality that you are not an animal. That's your best protection. Good. Questions now.
Lorna, that's what I thought, an inside job.
It's definitely an inside job. And the lie is so big that the Israelis don't believe it. The Palestinians don't believe it. The Palestinians believe, oh, look, we succeeded. But come on. Israel, let's say that they started and 200, 300 Palestinian comes in and Israel come with a few attack helicopters.
Yeah.
Come on. It's like you're talking about few hundred people with an M16, not F-16. If it was not an inside job, in an hour, 2 hours, it will be done.
Yeah, they'd be white.
Handle.
Yeah, exactly. In other words, what you're saying is, if you told an Israeli, look, your government planned for this to happen.
The government that you choose. And by the way, it's not the left or the right. By the way, it's not that Netanyahu did it and Gantz and Lapid, the other side, did not agree to that. If Lapid and Gantz, the left side, didn't really thought that Netanyahu is bad, they were in the government not long ago, and they could totally neutralize Netanyahu. They didn't. They didn't do one action against him because they're working together. It just sounds like there is left and right. They are working together. And you are the puppets.
So we have a few things here. First of all, Palestinians seem to be full of hatred, wild and inhuman.
They're not. It's like, it seems like that. And yes, it's true. At that moment, they were crazy. To come into a house and burn it with children, you have to be very crazy. But it has been after years and years and years of brainwashing, telling you that the Israelis are animals. When you go against your enemy, you are convinced they are not human. And this is, if you don't get it, you will not understand how come a normal human being that has children, that has family, will go into a place and just kill just uncontrollably. And if you will get this idea, it will explain anything. Now, everything I'm saying, do not justify what they've done. It's not okay.
But that's their mentality.
But this is what they've been brainwashed at. And the problem is not the person that shoots the gun. The person that brainwashed him is responsible. So there is a whole movement to brainwash Israelis against Palestinians. And there is a whole brainwashing going against Israelis and against Jewish in the other side. And what you see is both sides killing each other, and the people that making money out of it and the people that gaining control laugh at the idiots that kills each other.
If both sides are being controlled by insane governments, how would a solution even be implemented?
It's very simple, and the solution is by taking one person at a time and explaining to them that when you get a solution as let's wipe them out, if the people in Israel, despite all the pain, will realize this is not the solution. Because from the viewpoint of the Israelis, it's obviously we need to revenge, to kill them and blah, blah, blah. And I'm all for it. Go and find those people that do that and fine. But you're not going to solve the problem. You are in this cycle for so many years. So going in and punishing them beautifully without a solution, so what are you doing? In 5 years from now, it will come again. It is not a solution. A sane person will refuse to fight in order to fight. He will fight with all his power in order to bring a solution. And a solution is not to kill all the Arabs, and a solution is not to push all the Jews to the sea and to kill all the Jewish. In history, there is not one society of slaves that did not break the chain and won. And if you understand that and you are not crazy, brainwashed, you'll understand. Fight by all means. When I fight and I win. But my winning is not killing all my enemies. The purpose of the war is to bring the opponent for a more amendable man of a state of mind. What does it mean? That he's willing to solve the problem. And what all the governments in Israel did up to now is they cheated the citizens by going into different wars. they call it just another round or whatever they called it, without the intention to bring the other side to a more amendable frame of mind. And so they kept the conflict going. The governments kept the conflict going. The citizen must demand a solution, not killing everyone, because that's not a solution. It's like we, the Israeli, don't want the Hamas to think that the solution is to kill all the Israelis, because it's insane. It's not human. And in the same way, the Israelis should think that the answer, despite the atrocity, despite the genocide that just happened, the solution is not to kill all the Palestinians. It's just not logical. They're using you as puppet. The solution is for sure to win, but only for one purpose, to bring a solution. If I win in order to make myself right and they are wrong, I will lose. No one win by killing all the other side. So everyone that tell you, well, we'll push the Jewish people into the sea, and they say that this is the religious viewpoint, or that that's the Quran said. No, it's not. It's a few leaders that say that. The Quran is a beautiful writing and has a very good purpose. And the Jewish people on the other side said, no, they are animals. We need to just go and kill all of them. And the Bible said that they are the bad people. No, the Bible is a beautiful book that asks for actually peace and love. So we need a solution. Yes, war, not a problem. I'm not afraid of war. I'm not against war even. Yes, go to war. But you have to understand that make this war quick and to the point, because when you see that the war is long, what you know that whoever doing it doesn't want to solve the problem, he want to prolong the problem. So when someone tell you it's going to be long and hard work, you know the guy is useless. When I go to war, I go and bring about a more amendable change state of mind on the other side, and you do it quickly, not slowly.
On this point, you said throughout history, every slave group or oppressed group breaks its chain and wins.
Always.
So now for a second, from the viewpoint of the Palestinians, that they say, well, we've been slaves for a long time. We don't have clean water. We don't have good conditions. Israel's keeping us down. We need our own land. We need to be taken care of. And now we need to fight back. All this is actually, we're fighting against the Israelis and killing them, because we've been for a long time under terrible conditions.
Not a problem. So now you've done an attack like that. But now what you have? You went and you become unhuman. You killed women, children. You shoot rockets on humans, on children, not on soldiers. And let's say that this is the only thing you can do. What's the purpose? Are you going to win Israel like that? So you say, well, we'll be us and Lebanon and Iran, everyone will attack Israel. Yes, you may open Third World War and you may cause a lot of pain, but Israel will cause a lot of pain to you. And as you know, Israel having atom bombs. So what are we bringing? More and more destruction. And who wins? The people that instigate the war. That's not the solution. But if the Palestinians will come and say, look, we want a solution and we need the following thing, and we going to fight until both sides come to a more amendable frame of mind. We're not stopping the war. We are in a war and we're fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting until there is a solution. Because people, if they really realize that there are people, over time reconcile and fix things and start to build.
Yeah.
But for as long as the purpose of the Palestinian is all the Israelis is in the sea, and this is the actual stated purpose.
Yeah, that's their stated purpose.
That's the stated purpose. They want all the Israelis in the seas. Not logical, because you want people to die. You're stupid. And if the Israeli says, no, we will not give anything, but also stupid. Because we are strong, we'll kill them. Israel can be strong and strong and strong and strong, because Israel is one. It's enough that one time there's an attack like that, a little bit stronger, and one time Israel need to lose once. It can win 50 wars. One war you lose, and there's no Israel. And there will be one war that Israel will lose. It's not a question, because no one wins all the time. It's smart to actually realize that it's the interest of both sides to fix the problem. And the reason it's not fixed is because the government wants that war. And before you'll be able to confront that, and as a citizen, start to promote, I'm not against the Palestinians, I'm against the government. I'm against the Palestinian government, I'm against the Hamas, but I'm not against the Palestinians. Palestinians are people like me, citizen. They just want to have a school and food and place. They want to live. Israelis just want to live. Israel was built, and we want peace.
And what do the Palestinians need to understand? The guy that goes around saying "Free Palestine" and "You Israel did this to us." So what do they know? The Israelis need to understand that they're just Palestinian people, and we support
and
them.
Israel and those people that support Free Palestine need to be total different structure. The fight should not be Free Palestine. We demand negotiation, not Free Palestine, because you say that Palestine is correct and we are bad and they're bad and we are right. Who cares? It's not Free Palestine. It is, I want an agreement. Governments, we're not supporting you. We want an agreement. You get to a point where both governments agree to talk, and it happened when the people say, we had enough. So we are supporting Israel, and we're supporting the Palestinians, and we're supporting the Palestinian people, and we're supporting the Israeli people, and we're supporting that. I'm a Palestinian, I support the Israeli. I'm an Israeli, and I support the Palestinian, and I'm totally against the government, and I demand that they would sit and come to an agreement. I had enough with wars for no agreement. Israel tried not to solve this problem because they were worried that there was some leak of a presentation from the government that the army said that if we'll go into Gaza, we will have about 1,000 dead people in the worst case scenario. Yes.
Yeah.
We didn't go into Gaza, and there's more than 1,000 dead people.
Interesting. So they were trying to avoid it because they thought it's going to...
So they said we cannot solve the problem because there will be 1,000 dead people. Israelis are stupid. They want to hold the fight, but they don't want their children to die. No. Just airplanes, and we're not going in because we don't want to risk. And if a soldier die, there is a whole investigation of who is to blame and how to blame, and stupidity. You want to solve these stupidities. The only way is you demand from the government that you want peace, not surrender. Negotiation to peace. And if we need a war in between to convince the governments that it is not a problem, support the war only in one viewpoint. We want the end result to be peace. Now, since the end of all wars is always peace, just historically, maybe it's better to go straight to the peace. But if you want to fight and you want your children to die, it's fine, not a problem. Let's kill a few people. It's sometimes fun.
There's a lot of questions here.
Didn't we do that by try many times? No, the people never actually demanded from the government to have peace. The people demanded revenge. The people demand to go in and kill. No one demanded peace. You go to any religious Israeli and any religious Arab, and they want revenge. They want surrender. No, you need to come to a point where both sides are more amenable for suggestions. And if you do go to war, make sure that the end of the war is not the next war. Make sure that the end of the war is peace. Even if it takes 4 years, you don't stop the war.
Mm-hmm. A solution.
A solution, yes. A solution.
Yeah.
Because enough with the stupidity of delaying. Basically, all you do is delay the end. And the more you delay, like in life, the more you delay something, the worse it's get.
So Lorna said the government had to be involved for something like this to happen.
It's not involved creating. It's not a conspiracy theory. I'm not telling you how it was done, but I'm just telling you, look, just open your eyes and see that if a lizard cross the fence, 7 jeeps and a tank will be there. And I know that. I've seen it in my own eyes. I know how it works. Every Israeli knows that. And of course, if more than a lizard, if it's a person, there will be at least one Apache. How come that hundreds of Palestinians goes in and there's no army? Like the army do not exist. Someone made sure it will happen.
William, how do you handle the corruption of leaders? The sins of many world leaders is obvious, but no one does anything about it. Netanyahu has criminal charges. Biden's sins are public.
Okay, the handling is me and you. Every single person justified by saying, I'm only one me. No. You, if you will make sure that people will know what I'm talking about and will force the governments, will say, I love my enemy. Because my enemy is not really an enemy. It's a government that push the idea that they are the enemy. So if I'm Jewish and he is Palestinian, for us to fight, someone has to convince us that he is an animal and I'm an animal before we can shoot each other.
Yeah.
And someone convincing us. And someone convinced me to go and shoot him Someone told me that he's an animal, and I agree, because maybe that someone was my rabbi, or that someone was my imam, or that someone was my government. And people that tell you that the other side are animal are not your friends. People that tell you that you need to kill your neighbor are not your friends. They using you, and you need to wake up and don't agree with that. Regardless of all the proof that he is an animal, you need to know he's not. When it comes to the wartime, when it comes to getting you to war, they convince you this is animals. Listen to the Israeli news at the moment, and all the people say, well, the Palestinians are just animals. Look, they're coming in, and they have a very long list of justification to explain to you what the animals. And while the list of justification is true, if you fall into the trap of now calling the Palestinians animal, you lost as an Israeli.
Yeah.
Because yes, it was an animalistic action to kill children, to kill old people, to burn whole families in the house, to shoot teenagers in the field.
Yeah.
It is terrible. It's inconceivable. But those people has been brainwashed, and you hate them because they've been brainwashed, and now you have been brainwashed by what they've done.
Right.
Then they will be brainwashed by what you've done, and they would
and
you just go down and down and down.
But so what is there another way that people say not the word animal, but they say what is something people need to look out for?
Not human. That they are vicious. They are fanatic. By the way, it's true that every fanatic, every person that believes that he is right, fanatic mean I believe that I'm right and everyone is wrong. I know and everyone else don't know. Just because I'm Christian, I've saved and they're not. Just because I'm Jehovah's Witness, I know and they're not. Every single of these religions believe 100 billion% without knowing anything about the other religion, that they are right and everyone else wrong. I want to tell you something. The only right person is a person that can see the rightness in every single viewpoint. Because if there's 8 billion people, and you have one viewpoint, it means that you're stupid. Why? Because the spirit is the thing that can see, that can create the whole thing. The spirit is a nothingness that can bring about somethingness. And if now I take the spirit that can bring anything, and I can bring only one thing, I'm Jew. This is the only viewpoint, and everyone else is Gentile stupid. I'm sorry to tell you, you're stupid. It cannot be that you're not, because you have one viewpoint.
Yeah, you clearly don't see.
You clearly don't see 8.9999999 billion viewpoints. Anyone that tell you that you are right and everyone else is wrong, or you are right and most of other people wrong, is actually don't like you. They want to control you. Because if I can see everything that happened, then I control. Not when I try to make myself right and other people wrong. I'm not controlling anything. Even if I can push him down for 5 days, 5 months, eventually the slave will break the chain.
The right wing and the left wing are two wings of the same bird.
Yeah. So generally, the left wing considered to be very moderate, and the right wing considered to be very extreme. And if you look at in Israel, the right wing government were executed the most left actions. They gave money to the Hamas. They open the borders. Don't be stupid and listen to what your leaders say. Look at what they do. You'll see that they're lying to you continuously wholesale. And when someone lies to you continuously wholesale, you at least need to realize that you need to start opening your own eyes. Why? Because the system is rigged in such a way that they cannot do what they want to do. They have extreme pressure. Every one of the politicians have some dirt against another politician. Every government has dirt on specific politicians and pushing one thing they are not ethical. And if you don't realize that, start open your eyes. The enemy is never the people. The enemy is the politicians. The enemy is your government and the other side government. Now, the other side government is not so much under your control. Start to put pressure on your government that whatever happened, I don't accept it without a solution. I want a solution. I don't care if we fight for 70 years, non-stop. You don't stop for a second. We get to a solution. Close the cycle.
The point is not that we want war, right? No. The point is that we want a solution. And if war is what it takes, and if you start down the path, then at least get all the way.
Yeah, I suggest
otherwise you
not to go into war.
Of course.
It can be done in the same way without war.
Otherwise, you kick the can down the road, and that's what's been happening.
Really, as a citizen, you need to not buy the narrative of the media, of what's going on in the WhatsApp groups, because it will get you to believe that the other side is animals. You have a viewpoint, I'm an Israeli or I'm a Palestinian, and you'll have a viewpoint by what being pushed at you, that the other side is animals. You need to know the other side is human being. They love, they care, they want to live. And the handling is you push against your government, not against the enemy, because the enemy is not the perceived enemy. The enemy is never the other side. The enemy is your own leaders. Because the job of your leaders is to bring peace. And for as long as they don't bring peace, they are the enemy. Every sane Israeli should realize the enemy is not the Palestinians. The enemy is those leaders that prolong this conflict for 70 years.
Amazing.
That's the enemy.
True.
Let's name the enemy properly. The enemy is your own government, not the other side. The governments fight. So the enemy is my government that instead of communicating and getting to an agreement fights because of personal insanities.
Yeah, I think a good example was during the Vietnam War. I think that the American citizens didn't want the killings of the Vietnamese. Mm-hmm. They had a whole thing. It was like the hippie movement at the time against the government to stop the war.
Yeah.
That was the right target.
That was the right target. But not stop the war, just stop the war, like they've done in Afghanistan, which insanity, yes?
Yeah.
But bring a solution, bring peace. Peace and only peace is good for people. War is good only for governments. You see a war, someone is making shitload of money and gaining a lot of power from the war, and it's not me and you, it's the government. So don't be stupid, don't support it.
Fantastic. Okay. So this is done even openly by high-ranking officials. Itamar Ben-Gvir comments on Palestinians in West Bank.
Of course. Ben-Gvir is insane, totally. There's no question about it. Not because he's a bad person, because his viewpoint is the solution is force, just force, zero intelligence. So it's insane. It's like, by the way, the same insanity as left-winger that thinks that the solution is only intelligence. Both insane. You need force and intelligence, 50-50. And when you see this unbalance, you know you're talking to a cuckoo person.
In Quran, Allah hasn't said that Muslims must kill Jews. Of course, it has said that Muslims should kill anyone who is against Allah and Prophet Muhammad. And in this case, this war, it's irrelevant.
That's correct. Every group wants to protect itself, and it's normal. Misunderstanding people, misunderstanding what people read in the Quran or in the Bible or at anything. People misunderstand religion. How a person misunderstand religion? He's not becoming the source of what's written there. So if I read something in the Bible or in the Quran, I want to make it my own. If I don't make it my own, if I'm not the source of it, I'm just a parrot. So if you think that you can trust a parrot, even Muhammad will not help you. Figure out how you can create it. How can you become source over the data? Otherwise, you're just useless.
What are your thoughts on the 4 or 5 times the Palestinians could have accepted peace with their own land and simply walked from the table, not even acknowledging the offers from the UN resolution on?
I think that whoever told you the story did not tell you the whole story. That's number one. And my wife could walk from the table many times. My son can walk from the table many times. I would still want peace. And if I do go into war, I'll bring the other side to a more amendable frame of mind. So let's say that it's happened. I will not stop until I will get a result. I will not just leave it and say, well, they don't want. I have someone to blame now. No. If all the Israelis and all the Palestinians will stand shoulder to shoulder and say, we don't continue until you idiots come to an agreement. Week, month, years, I don't know. You're not going from this room until there's an agreement, because we, the people, want our children to be safe. We, the people, want prosperity. We, the people, don't want to spend 60 billion NIS on defense. We, the people, prefer to give you 30 billion NIS and we don't need this defense. So you will have a wonderful life. We, the people, demand that there will be an arrangement. And everyone tell you, no, but we cannot trust them, blah, blah, blah. We, the people, want an agreement that no one can bypass anyone else. And there is always a solution. If Germany and Japan and Germany and Europe and many, many other nations came into peace, and there was more hatred then than what there is between the Palestinian and the Israelis, we are there. Saudi Arabia is ready for peace. Everyone is ready for peace. We, the people, need to decide. No more. And if you're not willing to peace, if you want to force on us your viewpoint, we will fight until there will be peace. But I'm not going to continue with this war of attrition. I'm not going to spend all my money instead of conquering the sky and conquering my brother, actually, the Arabs, which are half brothers. Stupid.
What are your views on the illegal settlements that take away the future from the Palestinians and violate international laws?
Manifestation. So
What do you mean by manifestation?
Manifestation, it's
the symptom.
The symptom of something. The Israelis have those settlements because they think that the land belongs to them. I agree, the land belongs to them. The Palestinians think, no, it's our land. I agree, the land belongs to the Palestinians. So what now? Are we going to fight over 2 kilometers out of 100 kilometers, and we continue to fight all our life and kill the children? Why do I want the land? I want the land so I can have proper life. Don't you think it will be more appropriate to sit and demand an agreement? And if I want the land, I'll buy land and you buy land and we will do business and let's progress. And there's so much land around. Do you think that if the insanity will stop, the problem will be shortage of land? The problem is not shortage of land. The problem is that the leaders tells you that this is your land. Not the problem, it's your land. Let's come to an agreement. They also need to live somewhere, and we also need to live somewhere. You stop trying to push us into the sea. We stop trying to take from you a land that you consider yourself, and even if it's not yours, you need a place to live. So let's come to an agreement. And if we need to involve Syria and Jordan and Iraq and come to an agreement, if everyone will sit and talk, if the willingness goes up, the barriers go down. Why doesn't happen? Because the stupid citizens believe the government, so they support the government in fighting. But if the citizens will stop being stupid, and the citizens of all the people in the Middle East will come and say, no, we need an agreement. I'm not supporting this government. I want an agreement. You want war? Not a problem. Let's have a war forever until there's an agreement. But we're not stopping the war. It's not on off. But it's better. Let's have an agreement. We need an agreement. We, the people, demand an agreement. We, the people, demand peace. We, the people, demand progression. And progression will not happen when 90% of your budget goes to security. It doesn't happen when 90% of your time you are worried that your child will not die by a missile or because Israel want to kill some terrorists.
Thoughts on the 2004 pullout from Gaza and giving them a chance to rule, then electing Hamas and turning it into a terrorist state?
All of these things, right, wrong, who cares? You don't have all the data of what's happened there and what was planned and what's actually happened and why. The bottom line is like that. If the people will not buy the story of the governments and will have a very simple message, not free Palestine, not kill the Palestine, not this is ours, not this is theirs, not all of this nonsense, not the Bible said that it's the land of the Jewish people. All of this do not solve the problem. There is only one thing that solves the problem. We, the people, demand that my enemy, which is my government, would stop being my enemy. When do you stop being my enemy? When you start caring about me, my well-being, my kind well-being, and stop worrying about how you, the leader, is right or wrong.
Okay, how was it implemented? Did the government give orders to the army not to do anything when they were attacked?
So how does it get implemented is very simple. In order to do this, something like that, there is always a group of people that seems to be normal people, but they have been overtaken by other being. And I know it sounds crazy. And it is, if someone would tell me that and I wouldn't know it because I experience it, because I know it, because I see it. So a number of people get overtaken, people in specific posts that make sure that specific thing will not work. Specifically at that time, specific messages will be ignored, specific actions will be overlooked, and specific orders will never arrive. So whoever controlled the communication line controlled the actions. And the communication line were cut. And they were cut internally, not externally. The fact that the Palestinian bomb a few cell phone towers basically mean nothing. What do you think? The Israeli didn't know that the cell phone towers can be bombed? Do you think that you prepare a whole war and one cell phone tower will collapse a whole system? Seriously? Come on.
What is the solution if Hamas, Iran, etc. refuse to accept peaceful solutions, even if Israel wakes up to this? Haven't we offered peace talks for years?
No, I'm not talking about we offer peace talks. It's not the government offering peace talks. It's the people, because the people are uneducated. The people believe that their government is right. The Israelis 100% believe that they want peace, and the Arabs are just terrible. And the Arabs are 100% sure that they want land, they want to live, and the Israelis are terrible. So the demand from the people should be, if we are going to have a war, it needs to be the war that ends all wars. What was so amazing with Begin, why he was such a good leader, because Begin, despite the 73 war, decided that he is going to end the war with Egypt, and he made peace. And he didn't move from the table, and he had many times that he could move from the table because unreasonable requests and blah, 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 blah. And he didn't move from the table. And despite all the opposition from the crazy people that should have asked him for peace, but asked him for war, despite the opposition, he made peace. And imagine that Egypt would not be one country, but imagine that there was peace, actual peace, with Jordan and Syria and Lebanon. And instead of fighting in Iran and Saudi Arabia, imagine if there was peace. Any country that would not want peace will have no choice but to have peace. But it happened only if the people stop buying the lies of the government. Because in order not to have peace, the people have to be brainwashed. And you don't believe that you're brainwashed because you've seen TV pictures that they want you to see. And your attention is on specific things, so you don't see all the rest. And every time you're surprised of the stupidity of your government, and you give them a nudge chance, and you become even stupider.
Sounds like Israel may be committed to reoccupying Gaza and wiping out Hamas. Return to pre-2004.
Okay, so let's say we do that. So what? Where is the solution? What do you think? The terrorism will stop? That all of a sudden they will decide, oh yes, we will live within a small place without water, without electricity? Will you be able to live like that? Imagine that some other country will take the Jewish people and put them in a ghetto and tell them to live like that. How will you as a Jewish person will feel? You'll say, well, that cannot be. Well, that's what the German did to you. That's what the German did to you. Now you're doing it to another person. The viewpoint of the Israelis, the viewpoint of the Jewish people should be, the Holocaust should never happen again. And the Holocaust was not just burning Jews. The Holocaust was segregating you, putting you in ghettos. Don't do it for another nation, regardless of what the justification is. Don't do to others what you wouldn't like them to do to you. Even if it's totally justified, because believe me, Hitler was very sure that he was doing a favor to humanity, and we were stupid and we don't understand it. He was sure that he was right. Like the Israelis sure that they are right, like the Palestinians sure that they are right. How do you know that they are wrong? It's one viewpoint.
Mm-hmm. You have to see more viewpoints.
You have to see all the viewpoints.
People, and this whole thing locks people on viewpoints.
Exactly. That's all.
Ultimately, it locks sides.
Yeah. The moment that you see only your side, you need to know that you're stupid.
Yeah, you have to snap out of it at that moment. Otherwise, you get locked.
If you think that you're right and the other side is wrong, you're stupid. Only if you can see the rightness of all sides will you be able to bring about a solution. You want to know how stupid you are? Mm-hmm. How sure you are that you are right? And I'm saying strong words because you really need to wake up. Yeah. You've been brainwashed by your rabbis, by your spiritual leaders, by your religious leaders, and mainly by your government. Each one of those people that tell you that the other side is bad is actually against you, against your children. And it's time that you will wake up. How do you know that it's like that? Because it doesn't bring a solution. Every side said, no, God will save us. God save those that save themselves. If you commit atrocities against other people, God will not help you. Because everyone, the Gentiles and the Jewish and the Arabs and the Mormons and everyone has been created by the same God. If I was the president or the prime minister of Israel, I will do something really simple. I will do the following. I will say, okay, every day there is one 100 meters that get wiped out. I'm taking out all the people, but I'm just pushing you, 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 pushing you. F-16 just go and straighten the place until you agree to sit for negotiation. I don't tell you what's the condition. Everything is on the table. Everything is okay. But I want you to sit in negotiation. I don't want you to release the people that you took. I don't want you to give up anything. I don't give you any condition other than we sit and we bring peace for our people. Our purpose is the goodwill of our people. Let's figure out how we're doing it. And if we need to involve the US for help, or Saudi Arabia, or Qatar, or Lebanon, or Syria, or Russia, I don't care. We make things go right. What is make things go right? We bring peace to our people. This is what we do. And if not, you don't want peace, I will force you to sit down and talk for peace. No condition. I just want you to sit to talk for peace. And if not, we'll take more and more, because Israel can straighten the field. It did it in the Dahya. It can do it in Gaza in less time. Just flatten areas. 1 meter after another meter, after another meter, after another meter. Move the border inside, 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 until you agree to sit and negotiate. And we negotiate not from strength, not from weakness, but from how all those people can survive on the same land. Not because I'm now strong, I will force you. No. And maybe we'll get other countries to help us to share land or something. There need to be a solution if you want future for your people. But if you want more murders and if you want to be right,
It seems to me the biggest victims are the Palestinian people whose leaders have kept them in this so they can live as billionaires in penthouses of five-star hotels in Doha.
yeah, that's wonderful. But what do you think? So the Israeli care less about the dead people, children? So does it important if we killed one child or 50 children there? The stupidity is they say, oh, you killed only one of my children, I killed 50 of your children. Do you think that the pain is different? When the pain get to a loss of a child, it's on the extremes. It's not important if you lost one child or 50 children. It is on the extreme. It's the maximum. There is not more pain than that. So what is this stupidity? Oh, they kill one, I'll kill 10. You don't want pain, so you give them pain. How stupid can you be? He killed my child, so I'm going to kill his child. What his child did to me? Are you with me? It's totally stupid. And the enemy is your government. The enemy is your rabbis. The enemy is your spiritual leader. The enemy is your religion leaders. If they tell you that the other side is bad, if they tell you that we need to be logical, which means, what does it mean logical? My definition of the word logical mean is being able to control the outcome as I want it. That's logical. Illogical is not able to control the outcome. Logical, my definition is the condition where my action are bringing about the expected result. Illogic is when I'm not cause over what's the outcome of my actions.
There's a small group here. We're super impressed. What is your plan to wake up the crowds?
You are my plan. Because each one of you, when you change your mind, you think that I'm just small me? No. You directly and indirectly affect at least 50,000 people. And if you do the math, you will see that you do. One person, any change in this universe happened because someone set up a good example. One Martin Luther King, one Mandela, one person, one Ben Gurion. By the way, also for bad, one Bibi, one Nasrallah, one Gantz, these guys that don't bring the peace, they are the enemy. And if you'll tell them and if we'll communicate, look, you are the enemy. It's not the other side. Why we don't have solution? Because we're trying to solve the wrong problem. The problem is not where your attention being directed to. Your problem is in-house. You really have to understand that. You demand, you start to educate your friends about what I'm saying here. And you will see that the change will happen before you even imagine that it could. Mm-hmm. Because just your viewpoint, is the most powerful thing in the universe. Your ideas cannot be stopped. Bullets can be stopped. Force can be stopped. Airplane can be stopped. Atom bomb can be stopped. Not ideas. Ideas cannot be stopped.
two states living side by side is the best and only solution.
It's actually two states supporting each other, not living side by side. I'm not living side by side with my wife. I'm supporting her. If I'm just side by side, it's not enough. Like supporting each other. It's such a small place. There is so many dangerous from the environment. Let's conquer the stars instead of conquering other people. There is whole universe that no one is aware of. If all the money that go into defense will go into attacking the new frontier, space, what will happen? What happened with America as a new frontier is zero in comparison to once people stop fighting and starting to conquer space. Nothing. And this is such a huge game and so pro-survival game. And everyone can actually get together and achieve something of value. When people blame the media and this, it's not, it's me. It's not, I'm not blaming the government, I'm blaming you. I didn't say, let's kill the government. I say, we change our mind, we demand. I don't need to blame the government, I demand from them. I don't tell them, well, you've been so bad so far. No, I don't care about yesterday, it's gone. I care about tomorrow, I want peace tomorrow. I don't care about the past. The past do not exist. The past is past, otherwise there's no past, yes? The past do not exist. If you get this concept, which is a massive concept, the past do not exist because what you ate yesterday do not exist. You understand? The past do not exist. Yes, people hold to the past so much. Whoa, crazy.
Iranian regime authorities, Hamas, Hezbollah, and other terror organization officials have trained, raised by foreign intelligence organizations. Russia and Britain are two countries that are doing it. Israeli establishment is not as innocent as you explained, as you said that a lizard can't pass those fences.
Yeah.
What can people do to escape from the Middle East?
Israeli settlements are not innocent and not even close to innocent. Palestinians are not innocent, not even close to innocent. But they are all effect of me and you and them not demanding pro-survival solution. So let's say I blame you for something. Did I solve the problem by blaming you?
No.
The basic principle is like that. Insanity is defined not as you think. It's not doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. This is the definition of tenacity. Insanity I defined as attention stuck in the past. I don't care about the past. 10 seconds ago is gone. What I care about is today. What happened with my children today. And if you get that concept, who cares what's happened yesterday? Today, from now on, me, you, everyone, start to educate everyone that the real enemy is my government, not your government. It's not the Palestinian government. I don't say it's the Palestinian government is my enemy. I'm Israeli. My enemy is my government. While I will support them, I will demand from them peace. And if not, I will not support them. And if enough people will not support them and demand peace, there will be peace. Now, why is it not happening? Because the government keep you on fire. They always throw fire on you. They always throw fuel on the fire, making sure that you will be upset. So you will think that the other side is wrong. And for as long as you think the other side is wrong, that's safe.
Yeah, we're almost done. We're almost done with the questions. I would like to ask, what would be a definition for peace in this situation? Is that the goal?
Yes. The purpose of a government is to bring the infrastructure for its people. And peace is more when two or more governments bring an infrastructure for the people where the people can maximize the potential. That's the definition of peace.
So the reason for the inside job would be to finally completely claim Gaza.
No one can finally claim Gaza. Can you take 4 million people and just burn them? No. Hitler tried to do that. It didn't work for him so well. So no one can do that. It's nonsense. It's bullshit. No one can claim Gaza. No one wants Gaza. It's not what it seems.
So it's, as we said earlier, it's control the population.
It's controlling
It's another version of what happened during 9/11, during COVID. Further controls.
And it's further control and worse than what you think, worse than what you see. You need to know when something do not make sense. You're blind. You need to start looking at the principle. And the principle is, what do I want? Do I want to make them wrong? Or do I want peace, security, prosperity for my kind? But the only way for you to get peace and prosperity for your kind is making other people peaceful and prosper. The basic law is if you want to be healthy, you better make someone else healthy. If you want to be wealthy, you have better make someone else wealthy. If you want to be sick, make someone else sick. If you want to die, kill someone. So you need to decide what do you want. And don't be a puppet controlled by the media, by the government, by messages that not under your control. Just work on the basic principle. You're a spiritual being. You can bring something out of nothing. You have no limitation, which means you cannot have just one viewpoint. When you see one viewpoint, you need to know that you gave up your freedom. What does it mean to give up your freedom? It's not to be in a cell. It is to give up your ability to have multiple viewpoints. That's giving up your freedom. It's not being in a cell. You really have to understand. Mandela was in a cell and he had more freedom than when he was free. He affected more people easier. And once you know that, you really need to understand that when someone tried to make you an effect, when someone said that you are not the source, they trying to control you, even if the message that they give you is true. And you need to understand that you have the right to demand peace. You have the right to demand for your kind and your neighbors to maximize the potential. And the only thing that you as mankind should aim to is conquering the star and not your own. When mankind try to conquer mankind, everyone loses. If we strive to conquer the stars, we all win.
This was amazing. Thank you. That
I
was
love
wow.
you. I love you.